Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 7th annual Day of Caring event for 2022. I am Frank LaDore, and I'll be your host with my good friend and colleague, Tiana Williams. Tiana, I want to say hello.
How you doing, everyone? My name is Tiana Williams. I'm the Assistant Director of Annual Giving here at Southern Connecticut State. Good morning.
All right, this is great. So we have a really great program planned for you today. We're going to be talking to some deans and to President Joe, and we're going to be talking about a lot of great things that are happening at Southern. But before we get into that, we want to talk about what's happening today at our Day of Caring. Most of you may know this. Last year, we had our most successful Day of Caring. I think we raised over $628,000.
Yes,
And
sir.
we are on track to beat that this year, are we not, Tiana?
Yes. It is amazing, just the community support we've gotten so far. I don't even think I slept last night, but we're already at $389,000 raised. This time last year, we were probably about $100,000 shy of that. So we're coming in. We're coming in hot, and we have $106,000 left of matching dollars left. So if you haven't made your gift yet, please make your gift. It will get matched dollar for dollar.
That's amazing. And I don't know if some of you may have remembered last year, this show is called Frankie and the Tea. It used to be Frankie on the Street. I used to jump around and interview people at commencement and on campus. And then Tiana joined me last year for this little program, Frankie and the Tea, and it was really successful. We had a great day. We interviewed a bunch of deans and faculty and the president. And this year is going to be a little bit better. I do want you to check out our social media, Southern Connecticut State University social media. There's links there that you're able to donate. My social media, for those of you who are friends with me on Facebook, I just posted something where you could donate, and we'll be talking about some of the funds you can give to in athletics and some of the challenges. Tiana, you want to talk about some of those challenges and the power hours, what's going on there?
Yeah, so I'll start with the power hours. Right now, we have different segments where if a fund brings in the most donors in that hour, they will get additional dollars. So far, we've had two so far, one actually ending. So we had one at midnight early this morning, and rugby won. So they will run an additional $1,000 for their program. And then at 6 a.m., the School of Business Success Center won an additional $1,000 too. So early bird gets the worm. They were on it, but now we just had one finishing up at 9. So those results are going to be coming in. And power hour is going to be going up until midnight tonight. So choose an hour, get your buddies together and give, because this is free money. This is free money. We've had generous donors give to these power hours just so we can have even more. And in addition to that, we have challenges. So if you're an alum, we have an alumni challenge. We have a student challenge. We have an advocate challenge for those that just want to give their support. We even have a challenge for the colleges of who gives the most for the colleges. So any way you can support, we have a niche for you, and we have extra money just because you gave today. So it is awesome. It's exciting. It's like watching the ticker. It's like watching the ticker.
So Tiana, if you could refresh our memory from last year, I forget which sport won the whole thing. I believe it was football, maybe, or do you remember?
For the most dollars, it was on the men's side. It was men's basketball, and I want to say women's volleyball came in hot as well with on the women's side. So it's going to come down to the wire for the athletics. I can't even watch it. All the coaches are coming at me.
I think men's and women's swimming and diving had the most donors last year.
Most donors, yep, most donors for men's, women's.
They always dive in strong.
They're a powerhouse.
That was a joke, Tiana. You had a good laugh at that. And can you explain a little bit about how this matching works? Now, if someone gives to any fund right now, or one of the funds they have, up to a certain point, it gets matched dollar for dollar, correct?
Yes, dollar for dollar. So specific funds have their own matching. So courtesy of different alumni, different supporters, when you go on the site, you'll see if your fund has a match. And again, if you give $1, they will match it dollar for dollar. So that's one of the things that's awesome. In addition to the overall campaign match that we have for the whole campaign, courtesy of Barnes & Noble, Peter Worth, and Rita Landino.
Awesome. That's great. And we have a lot of things going on campus too. And we invite our alumni to come on campus. This morning, we were doing a faculty and staff donuts I don't know what you call it, donut, breakfast, and coffee over at the Academic Quad. And then tonight, the Alumni Association is sponsoring an event with my younger brother, Joey LaDore. We'll be playing live music, and there'll be trivia, and there'll be prizes, and there's going to be a lot going on. Did I miss anything about what's happening today, Tiana?
Yes, for the students, we're really incorporating just that on-campus culture again this year. So right now at 11 o'clock, we have a live DJ coming, taco truck, tie-dye making, and just more opportunities for students to give their gifts and get more prizes. And then tonight, for those that can't come out during the day, we have a student movie night in the Residence Quad. And right now we're polling the students, so I don't even know which movie we're going to be watching. I think it's between Monsters Inc. and Encanto. So we have a whole projector that we'll be bringing in, but just even the DJ and the movie company, they're all Southern alum. So it's just a testament just how we all come together as a community to give back in our own way.
That's awesome. And we're using a new system this year for our little show, Tiana. I don't know if you see on the right-hand side, people making comments. I think it's awesome. Some people on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Ricardo, men's soccer, let's go. I said, Ricardo, you got to write that check if you want them to win, man. Let's do it.
Okay, I see my good friend, Rob Johnson, Amanda Hampton. Yeah, there we go.
This is awesome. This is so much fun. Let's blow this up. Let's blow this day up. Let's bring the money in. Let's have some fun today. So on our agenda today, we're going to be talking to 4 of our deans, Dean Sandra Bulmer, Dean Bruce Kalk, Dean Stephen Hegedus, and we will have Dean Jennifer, and I'm just lost her last name because I'm talking too fast. The School of Business, and good old President Joe. So I think if she's ready, we can bring in our first dean. Jennifer Robin was our dean. Yes, sorry, Jennifer. I messed that one up. But we want to bring in our Dean Sandy Bulmer from the Health and Human Services, if she's available to come on in. And there
Hello,
she is.
Frank and Tiana, how you doing?
Hey, Sandy.
Doing great. Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
Yeah, well, my office is right off the quad, so I can see all the great activity going on. I'm going to head out to that little pavilion myself and get some food in a minute after we're done talking.
The donuts are great. They're from Whitney Donut in Hampton, and
awesome.
They're excellent. So make sure you have some coffee and donuts.
Well, I am the Dean of Health and Human Services, so I might have to, not let anyone see me eat the donut anyway.
So as the Dean of Health and Human Services, you have so much going on. It's amazing the things that are happening. We will talk about this new building that is built and opening up soon. But recently in the news, it came up that you have a partnership with Yale New Haven Health. And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, the College of Health and Human Services is made up of so many different disciplines, and that really makes us unique because whereas other universities would have a separate school of nursing, a separate school of social work, a separate school of public health, we just have everyone in one big happy family. But within the college, we recently launched a school of nursing, so we've stayed all together as a family, and that partnership was growth in our program was possible because of this partnership with Yale New Haven Health System. So what is happening out in the world, I think everybody knows there's a shortage of healthcare workers and nurses in particular. There's a real crisis and a lot of people retiring, and there's just a real need for nurses. So we partnered together with the health system to set a really ambitious goal. We're going to double the number of nurses we graduate by 2026.
That's amazing.
And that's exciting for our community, but it's also exciting for our students because we've had wait lists forever. So many more people that are qualified that want to study nursing than we had the capacity to serve. So this is an exciting time for the nursing program. That's
great. So, I mean, this, and Tiana and I both know this. And if you talk to anybody in the health profession, they'll take a Southern student over anybody any day as a nursing major. And it's hard because, it's one of the most competitive programs in the country, let alone the state. You made some changes to the program, the BSN program, and having more people come in will be excellent. Can you tell us a little about the changes you're making?
Sure. The nursing program's been working really hard to revamp our admissions and no longer requiring SATs for the university gave us a great opportunity. So it's a holistic admissions process. We look at everything the students have an opportunity to share their life story, and we really look at the opportunities they had and the experiences they took advantage of. And so we also have done the same in our communication disorders programs that are also very high demand programs. We're looking across all different aspects of students when we're admitting them into those programs. And we're also doing different things. There's a lot of people out there that have to work full time. So we created a part-time nursing program that will launch in the fall. A lot of high school students are really, and rightfully so, concerned about the cost of their education. So we're launching, we'll have it designed by the end of the summer, a high school program where students can intentionally finish a year of their nursing prerequisites before they come to Southern and then graduate in 3 years. And
Wow.
One of those wonderful parts of this partnership with Yale New Haven Health System is that they're providing scholarships for up to 12 of those students a year to do that degree in the 3 years. So a lot of great stuff happening in nursing. But that's one small piece of the whole college. And, we've got all these other programs that are just doing amazing things as well.
Well, you mentioned communication disorders, and again, one of the best programs in the country. And you know this, Sandy, but I recently spoke to someone who used our services, who was going to become a potential donor because they were impacted by our graduate students helping them at the clinic. Kind of segueing into the building, there is a new Cmd clinic there, and can you talk a little about what's happening with Cmd?
Oh, absolutely. And please, for Giving Day today, we have a wonderful supporter of the Communication Disorders Clinic, Clarissa Rodriguez. She's an alum, and everybody knows Teresa from her Alumni Association work and efforts. But she has supported the college, and she's got a big match on the table for that program today.
Absolutely.
Because she also had, her mother was served by our clinic, and she's a big advocate. So we currently are down in the basement of Davis Hall over in the School of Education building. And we see about 120 clients a week for speech, language, hearing issues. We're greatly expanding with 2 of our new faculty, our cochlear implant clinic. And we do a lot of services ranging from children with autism, adults with hearing loss, people who've had strokes and have aphasia. There's lots of things that are exciting that go on there. But the new clinic is expanded and we'll be able to serve many, many more people from our community. And that's how we train our graduate students. So, the clinic is we have 5 full-time licensed clinicians who work as supervisors right alongside our students, training them in the clinic while they serve members of the public. So it's one of the most special things we do here at Southern, and a really well-kept secret. I think a lot of people don't even know that's going on here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Before we get into more of what's going on in the new building, you mentioned Teresa Rodriguez, and she's a great supporter of Southern, former alumni director. We love Teresa, so I want to thank her too. Tiana, how are we looking on the challenges for HHS?
HHS is doing amazing. Sandy, you have such great community support so far. I just got the numbers in right now. You're number 1 on the leaderboard with $38,000 in so far. And again, big, huge shout out to Teresa Rodriguez, Lou Giaquinto, and Jean Berry, and then you, of course, Sandy, because again, you see the vision in your program, and just for you to reinvest back into it has been amazing. And again, your supporters have rose up to the challenge. So I'm interested in seeing how this race turns out.
Well, congratulations. Last year, Steve Hegedus beat me at the finish line. I think he made a last-minute donation in the middle of the night, and so game on, Steve Hegedus. But we are really excited about another program that we'll be launching, and this is where my family personally decided we would put a match on the table today, and that's our new Center for Inclusive Recreation and Adapted Sport. It's going to be a new facility in the new building that will be like how we train our speech language pathology students in our communication disorders clinic. We'll be doing the same in our Center for Adapted Sport and Inclusive Recreation with our recreation therapy graduate students. So that facility, Mary Jo Archambault, is got a vision for that place that's just off the charts. We will run wheelchair basketball programs. We'll have adapted sport fittings for people who need equipment. We'll have programs for children with autism. They have a gaming room with these awesome gaming chairs for after school programs for children. It's just going to be a really special place.
Can
So
I send my kids to the gaming room?
That's a really great thing to get to. My family's matching dollar for dollar for that program this year.
That's amazing. And that was, it segued nicely into the building, because I was going to ask about the adaptive tech, and I am working with Mary Jo and Dr. McGregor to try to get some funding for that. So anybody out there listening who you're interested in adaptive technology, we're looking for help to get that up and running, but it's going to be an amazing facility. I know we talked about, everybody's been telling me, and I did a tour of the HHS building before it was even anything, and everybody said that the third floor is like a hospital room. And it's amazing. So you have the hospital beds for nursing, you have the adaptive tech. Anything else you want to share? What's in the CMD Clinic?
I want to give a shout out to public health. Dr. Jean Brenny, our chair of public health, it was probably 15 years ago, she decided to set up a fund for student development. And every year she donates to the fund and does a match. And she's got it on the table today. Public health will be in the building, and they have a demonstration culinary classroom that they've designed. They'll be teaching healthy cooking, working with the community in the community garden, working with our care program that does so much in the community with health equity, and also food safety and our sport nutrition classes. And it's going to be a really fun space. So shout out to public health, because they're doing a lot of great stuff. The building also will have some really special facilities that we're going to have in the exercise science space. Our health and movement sciences department has an enormous footprint on the first floor. A new neurophysiology lab, exercise physiology lab, biomechanics lab, metabolic testing lab, really, really special places where we're going to be able to finally really grow our graduate programs in that space. So if you want to get your body fat tested or get your bone density tested or come in and get a fitness plan together, there's going to be all kinds of services available to our community on campus, but our community around. And we're raising money in the Dean's Fund for more graduate assistance for that program for the fall. So if you make a donation today to the College of Health and Human Services, we're going to fund more graduate assistance for this fall for the Health and Movement Science labs.
That's great. Public health is a little bit near and dear to my heart, because I have taught with them for over 14 years. So shout out to Jean Brenny for her donation and doing great work in that department. And we have about 2 more minutes, and I want to let you close out. But regarding the nursing program, I hate to keep on going back to nursing. Are our students going to be able to actually do clinicals in that building?
Yeah, so the simulation center on the 4th floor is we have 4 large nursing labs, but we also have a hospital simulation center that has 6 hospital rooms. They will do a lot of their clinical with high fidelity mannequins and with patient actors. So a simulated patient actor kind of scenario. We have an apartment, a home simulation apartment, where they'll learn how to do home health care. And that'll offset some of their clinical hours. But beyond offsetting their hours, it gives them confidence, right? They get to do all these scenarios in a safe environment before they're actually in the hospital dealing with those situations. So they're going to be better talking to patients. They'll have all those skills that they'll have practiced, and we'll videotape it all, and they'll go and debrief, and it'll all be great. But Frank, aside from the building, I want to point out we have 2 other programs that really are to be commended, because in order to fit all this awesome programming in the building, the social work department made a decision to stay in Lang House, and they're going to be expanding into the Orlando house when public health leaves. So that side of campus is going to become a school of social work next year. Wow. And they, just like nursing, there's a crisis going on in behavioral health workers, and social work is really stepping up. And our marriage and family therapy program, which is still in Davis Hall, is expanding greatly their footprint in helping the workforce needs. So I want to give a shout out to them too, because they are doing great stuff. And Paul Levatino, every year he makes a big donation and supports the family therapy clinic. And he's just doing great work over there. So lots of good stuff.
So the little bird behind the curtain told me that we have a few more minutes because the next dean isn't until 10:25. So I do have a couple more questions if you have the
Ah,
time.
great.
Yeah,
You know me, I'll
you,
talk forever about the college.
you mentioned exercise, health and movement. What's the new name?
Sciences.
It used to be Elk Exercise Science. I want to congratulate you on a great event you put on last week. Sharon Masasi and Sandy DeChico made a nice donation for the Believe Fund, and we brought the gentleman from Super Coffee on campus, and that was just an amazing event. Can you talk a little bit about that fund and how
Yeah,
that
absolutely. So the Believe Fund is a brand new fund that Pat Panicius, Sharon Masasi, and Sandy Chico set up to help students when they're having unexpected, unanticipated financial challenges that might get in the way of them achieving their dreams, and finishing their college degree and moving on. So they have these amazing nephews, 3 brothers that started Super Coffee, and they brought them to campus to spend the day with our students last Thursday. And it was just so much fun. A shout out to Michelle Vancourt and Maddie Maselli, who did all of this amazing behind the scenes work to make sure the logistics were smooth and everything was attended to. And then Lee Delisle, who has a new bachelor's degree program in tourism and event management, his event management class did the whole evening program and was there partnering with us at the Lyman Center. And we had 350 student athletes there from all the different teams. I shout out to all the coaches, even though they're competing with me for money today. Shout out to them for getting all of those student athletes to such a fun program.
And
so
one of you
donate to that. There's my family made a donation to that as well. We really believe in that fund and all the great stuff it can do.
And one of your interns under Lee Delisle's program is Ashling from John Moore, Liverpool.
Yes.
So she was amazing that night, and she's doing great work in our office. So we're happy to have her.
We really the Believe Fund is a game changer for our college because we now have a place if our faculty and staff find out someone's struggling, make an immediate referral. And, the university has all kinds of great resources for everyone. The SOS Fund is another thing that people are supporting today. I see a lot of donations coming in. This is just such a campus. I'm so proud to work at Southern and all the caring that people have for one another. It's a great place.
Well, you do an amazing job for HHS. Before I let you go, I need to know how. I mean, I think you're a public health background. Am I correct?
Yeah.
How do you pick favorites?
I actually went to University of Oregon and did study exercise science, so I've got this eclectic background.
So in closing, can you tell how do you not pick a favorite? Who's your favorite department, and how do they get your support and finish up with what you need from everybody out there?
It's easy because they're all amazing. If I had weak links, it would be easy to have favorites, but everybody works so hard on behalf of the students every day. It's such a great team. And the best part of the new building is that we will have an opportunity to be together. We've been spread out in 8 different buildings all over campus. We built a special collaboration suite. So social work and marriage and family therapy would be spending a lot of time in the building as well. But everyone's ready to come in there and be together, which is going to be just amazing.
Well, I know you mentioned Dean Hegedus as a challenger, but I think you're going to be surprised at how well Bruce Kalk is doing. So he's going to be close there too. Allison, before I let Sandy go, can we show a couple of the pictures from the building and then we'll bring Bruce in? I don't know if that's possible. For those who don't know Allison, she's like our tech person behind the scenes. She's making it all happen.
Well, anyone that's on, as soon as we get occupancy and we're going to move in at the end of May, I will personally give you a tour. So
awesome.
We'll do the real thing and get that.
What we'll do is we're going to say goodbye to you now, and then we'll show the pictures afterwards. But we really appreciate you coming on. We really appreciate all the support, all the phone calls you made, all the money you're bringing in, your personal donations. You do an amazing job. Tiana, anything to
Yes, Sandy, I will say this. You just made it so much harder for me because I don't know where I'm going to put my money today. I just got so fired up for everything that you have going on at HHS. So
you can't go wrong, Tiana. Anywhere you put that money is going to do a lot of good.
Right.
Thanks so much, Sandy. Dean Bulmer, you're the best. Thank you.
Thanks. Have fun. Thanks for all you're doing today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right. So now I'm excited to bring on one of my colleagues and friends from Arts and Sciences is Dean Bruce Kalk. And here he comes.
It's making a grand entrance.
We can hear you, Bruce. We can't see you yet.
Uh-oh.
You okay, Bruce?
You know, I think you're going to hear me, but I don't think you're going to see me today.
Well, we want to see you, though. That's okay. You know what? We can have a conversation. If your camera comes on, great. If not, we'll still do it.
Let's have the conversation. Happy Day of Caring.
Happy Day of Caring, Bruce, and thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We're happy to have Dr. Bruce Kalk, who's the Dean of Arts and Sciences, who's got a lot of things going on in his department. Bruce, you have a tough act to follow with Sandy, but I think you're up for the challenge.
Yeah, I heard the last few minutes of her talk, so we've got a little bit of work to do. But I've been on the horn already this morning for about an hour and a half, and talked with some old friends of the university. Really excited about our funds that we're promoting today.
Absolutely.
So, Tiana, you want to mention some of the funds he's promoting and some of the visionaries?
Yeah. So Bruce, just first and foremost, thank you to you for putting up again your personal dollars to support the arts and sciences. And then we have Cliff and Patricia Caefo, and they've been amazing, putting in another 10,000 so far. Hold your seats, everybody. $42,000 in so far for arts and sciences. So just in that short amount of time, you have just shot up. So just wanted to kudos to you. And again, a big part of it is for the research fund that you have. And I know that Frank's going to ask a little bit more about that. But again, just kudos to you and your leadership. I know you've been on the hotline all morning and it's going to be through lunch. So continue doing what you're doing, because again, it is going to be a tight race till the end.
Thanks.
Well, I know that we were going to talk about the Arts and Sciences Research Fund, but I think more importantly, we have something in the hopper called the Arts Administration Internship Fund. Bruce, can you talk a little bit about that fund?
Yeah, sure. So shortly after I became dean, I found myself going to a bunch of arts events just to increase Southern's visibility in the arts community. And my big goal was that our logo in the program for a fundraiser would be bigger than UNH's. And I found myself going to one of these events about monthly, and two people chatted me up and said the same thing. They said, "Why does Southern not have an arts administration program?" And I said, "Tell me about that. What are your needs?" And they both said the same thing, which was, "We don't have a pipeline for entry-level jobs. If we want somebody who's a development officer, we poach somebody from Hartford Stage, and then they poach somebody from the New Britain Museum of Art, and they poach somebody from," and so on and so on. So there are jobs available. I took note of that. We had an event that Professor Chuck Barra put on, and Chuck had a symposium on the public humanities, and we had 60 undergraduates who attended that event. So that checked another box in my head. I thought, gosh, we have a lot of students interested in this. And then I was talking with Cliff Caefo the last time I was down in DC. And we had dinner, Cliff and Pat, his wife, who met at Southern. And I told him about the program. And I said, of course, we're going to have an internship at the end of it, and we'll need funding for that. And he said, "How much money do you need?" And I thought, wow, this is a trifecta. We have jobs going for the asking. We have students interested in those careers, and we have a visionary donor willing to support it. So that's what got us started. Through the really hard work of Joel Dodson and Mike Skinner, the minor has been created. We're hoping it can turn into an interdisciplinary major in the near future. And the nice thing about this fund is students will not have to, they're not going to have to work their day job. They'll be able to take a semester off because they'll be getting a stipend out of this internship fund.
That's
Super
amazing.
exciting.
Wow, that's great. That's great, Bruce. And obviously, you don't want to take away from your arts and sciences research fund, because some people, you and I chatted, Bruce, about this, and some people do like to give to the research fund, and I think that's doing pretty well too. No?
It sure is. Matter of fact, I was on the phone with former Dean Donna Jean Fredine this morning,
Awesome.
and she was asking about about specifically the Arts and Sciences Research Fund. So we've definitely got friends of the university, donors who are excited about that. And the neat thing about the Arts and Sciences Research Fund is a quarter of the money goes towards students who are collaborating with faculty on a research project. So this semester, we have 14 students who are benefiting from that fund. They're currently working with their mentors, doing research projects. One of them is working on bat research in Belize, believe it or not.
Wow.
Wow.
Talk about a transformational experience for a student.
Wow.
I think
That's
it's amazing.
That's amazing. Bruce, before I have a couple of other questions about what's happening in arts and sciences, but before I do this, we have breaking news for the 10 a.m. Power Hour. Tiana.
Breaking news. We have field hockey. Field hockey, cha-ching. $1,000 more to your fund for bringing in the most donors. So again, keep it up. The field is open. Get your people. Give some money.
Congrats to the field hockey team.
And Bruce, congrats to you on all you're doing. I know you're on the phone all day calling people. You just talked to Donna Jean Fredine. Were you able to get her to write a check? No, you don't have to answer that. I'm just kidding. I'm sure she's a very generous donor. I'm sure she did. But you're all day on the phone calling folks and reaching out to people, and we really appreciate all you're doing. Some of the other things that are happening in arts and sciences, we recently had the mayoral papers, and we're going to show a video after you jump off of you and talking about the art gallery and the Salvatore Dali artwork. Can you want to talk a little about what's happening over there?
Yeah, it's super exciting. Our art collection is amazing for a university like Southern. I've gotten a chance to peek behind the back doors to see what the full collection is. In addition to the Salvador Dali, which is almost one of a kind, I think there's a collection at a museum in Indianapolis and one in Houston, and that's it.
Wow.
So we have one of only a handful of the entire collection. But the art gallery is a terrific place for visibility for Southern. Kurt Sierpinski, who's the gallery director, tells me that the Dali exhibit had 20 times the number of visitors that a typical exhibit gets.
Wow.
That's great.
Amazing.
Yeah, we got written up in the Hartford Courant and the New Haven Register, and people were coming from off campus.
Wow. That's crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is not something we can sell for your funds.
No, but we also have the Arts and Sciences, the Dean's Discretionary Fund, and I want to give a shout out to that too. It's really useful. When Asma Rahimyar was starting out here, our Rhodes Scholar, recent graduate, when she was starting out, she came into my office and she said that she'd been invited to a conference at the United Nations, and she was requesting some funding. That's what the Dean's Discretionary Fund supports. Really cool stuff like that.
Well, that's great. That's great. I kind of put Sandy on the spot in the last interview about asking her if she had any, how she didn't pick her favorites or picked her favorites. I know you're a history buff, and I'm sure you lean a little bit towards history. But is it difficult working with all arts and sciences? Is one of our biggest colleges. Is it difficult working with all the different departments, and how do you manage your time and making sure everybody gets the support they need?
Yeah, it's really we have such great faculty and staff in arts and sciences. I always tell our scientists, I don't pretend to be a scientist. Go ahead and educate me, and then I'll see what I can do to support you. Obviously, today we're doing a lot for the arts, and I'm real proud of that. But we've got some terrific programs in all of the areas, the arts and humanities, social and behavioral sciences, STEM, the communicative arts like comm and journalism. Really some neat programming.
That's great. That's great. And then the new science building is amazing. And we have a biopath program with New Haven. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And that's poised for a lot of growth. There are jobs in demand in biopath. Same thing, by the way, for data science. For anybody who's into stats and coding, you can get a really handsome salary with a bachelor's degree in data science.
Well, that's a nice segue. I was going to mention it later, but I'll mention it now. And Bruce, you probably know this, but our area now accepts cryptocurrency, and we had a very large donation in cryptocurrency to the Computer Science Fund. And Lisa Landcore has been instrumental in reaching out to folks in that field, in the blockchain field, in the crypto field, to get donations. So anybody out there listening who needs a little crypto write-off, it's a better write-off than cash. We do accept cryptocurrency, and it doesn't have to be the Computer Science Fund, but that would be nice. Anything in arts and sciences or anywhere, you can donate your cryptocurrency through at Southern Connecticut State University.
And I'm glad you mentioned the Computer Science Fund, Frank. We've got some other funds like the MFA Fund and the Kristen Starr Moran Fund that are also on the drop-down menu for arts and sciences.
Awesome. Tiana, what do you have to add? Anything happening on the home front with money?
Yes. So I'm just trying to tally all the numbers as Bruce is speaking. First and foremost, Bruce, I just want to let you know that the new fund that you just created already has $35,000 in it out of your 40. So just wanted to let you know. But overall, we're at $430,000 raised with 625 donors.
Fantastic.
So we are coming in. We are coming in, and again, the match is still open. We have $90,000 left in match. So again, dollar for dollar. If your fund already has a match, that means your money will get matched twice. So if you're thinking about, should I give, should I not give? This is the time to give, because you have the ability to be double matched at this point. So don't let it run out on you. Frankie and the T told you first. Get your dollar matched.
Because once that 90,000 is matched, it's not dollar for dollar anymore. So the early bird gets the worm.
Thanks for the shout out, Tiana.
Absolutely.
Bruce, before we let you go, anything in closing you want to tell the folks listening, or and also, how do you think this really helps your students day in and day out when this money coming in?
Well, first I want to say thank you both to donors and to friends of the university. And as far as the impact of these gifts, this goes directly to students. Whether it's the Arts and Sciences Research Fund, a quarter of which goes directly to students, or the Arts Administration Internship Fund, all of which goes directly to students. It's our students at the end of the day who are going to benefit from the gifts that people are generously making.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Bruce, we appreciate all you're doing, not only making the phone calls, but like donating your own money, working hard for your program. The deans on this campus have a passion for their programs, and they don't just show it by coming to work every day. They actually go into their pockets and show it. So we appreciate all you do, Bruce. Keep up the awesome work.
Thank you so much, Bruce.
Thank you. Have a great day.
So Tiana, that number you gave, we are, I don't know if you're tallying, but how far are we away from the 628? I know. The arts and sciences guy should have stayed on for the math question.
He should have, because Bruce would have told you in about 5 seconds. Well, let's just say we're about 200K shy of last year's record. So that's just rough math right there. But
it's only 10:30 in the morning, 10:39 in the morning.
10:39 in the morning. I would like to add that at 11 a.m. is the biggest power hour, where people could earn an additional $2,000 for their fund. So just again, want to put that out there. If you haven't got your buddies, if you haven't got your friends, your fellow alum together, try to win that 11 o'clock, because that is the biggest power hour we have coming up.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm not sure if they're ready for us, but our next guest is Dean Jennifer Robin from the School of Business, who, if I look out one of my windows, I see a gigantic building being built, also a new School of Business. It's just amazing, and it's also kind of loud. If we could bring Dean Robin in, that would be great. Hello, and
hi there.
and her colleague Amy Grotsky.
That's
And
right.
Amy's here
You
too.
all
This is awesome.
You all are Frankie and the T. We are Amy and the J.
Oh,
I love it. I love it.
Hey.
So, and I want to apologize because when I was introducing you earlier, you probably weren't on, but I am a professional, but I am really not a professional at this. And I couldn't remember your last name. I almost said Jennifer Bird, but it was Robin.
Well,
Close.
maybe some of that we can get some sympathy dollars from some of our donors for the name snafu, Frank.
Yeah. So
thanks.
Frankie and the T, this is our second year going. We're thinking that if we don't raise the money we need, T and I are going to take this on the road and do this full time.
That's great.
But with that, I want to segue into how things are going on the School of Business side, and let's talk a little bit about what's happening. Well, you want to start off, Tiana, on what they're looking at in numbers, and then we'll go to Jennifer and Amy.
Yes, so far we have 17,000 in, 54 donors. So, we still have all day. I feel like the business folks, they're waiting. They're waiting to really make a splash because they know everybody's coming out the gate. So again, still plenty of time, but it's just amazing what the School of Business has done. Amy and Jen, just working with the both of you and your students. I could already tell in this noon hour when they get on the calls and they're in the quad, it's going to be instrumental. So I love that.
That's right. Well, things are exciting in the School of Business, whether it's the new building, which is about 64,000 square feet of new space for us. And it's also a net zero building, which means it'll produce as much energy as it uses, which is just a fantastic sort of place for us, especially with our goal to always be empowering change for good. So we want to make sure that our students and our community are equipped with the skills, the talent, everything they need to make change for good. And so the building helps us do that even more. Our programs are evolving and continue to be out front. I can talk a little bit about those, but before I go too much further, the main fund that we are hoping to raise dollars for is the Business Success Center. And Amy and her team do an amazing job with the Business Success Center. It's a co-curricular sort of platform for professionalism, internships, job placements. And so I'm going to turn it over to Amy to talk about Business Success Center, and then we can talk about some of the programs and other exciting things we have going on too.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, so the Business Success Center is where, in my opinion, all the really exciting things happen at the School of Business. It's where our internship coordinator is based out of. She works full-time to support students with resume support and cover letter support and helping them find good quality internships and then jobs, when it's time to graduate. We have professional development series like leveraging LinkedIn, negotiating salary, finding your leadership style, and a variety of other things that help students become more confident, more prepared when they enter the workforce. We have our etiquette dinner that is our big, exciting flagship event. Every year we rent out the ballroom, we have a plated meal, we have an etiquette expert come in and talk about all the things that you don't even know you don't know about business etiquette over a meal. And it's always a lot of fun. We have an impact program, which is a nonprofit internship program that pairs students with local nonprofits. So the students get paid to work in the nonprofits, but at no cost to the local nonprofits because we have generous donors who help fund that. So since that started in 2020, spring of 2020, we've placed over 60 interns in this program, which equates to about 9,600 hours of free support to local nonprofits and 9,600 hours of professional experience for our students. So we're really proud of that. And like Jen said, change for good is really important to us. Southern is a social justice university. So our strong ties to the local nonprofits is really, really important to us.
Yeah, you got a great team working on that. And I just saw Patty Conti thanking the donors, and she's working really hard on internships. My question with the Business Success Center, is it open to just graduates and undergraduates or just undergrad students?
It's open to graduates and undergraduates, yeah. Any business student can participate in the things that we offer. Another thing that we're doing right now that's actually open to all Southern students
is April's Financial Literacy Month. And so we're running a financial wellness series here in the School of Business this month. So, if there's students out there listening that would like to register, you can still do so. There's a couple of events still the last 2 weeks of April.
Well,
where students can learn budgeting and that kind of thing.
It's great things that are going on over there. I have to say, I was brown-nosing Sandy Bulmer a little bit because I teach at public health, but my heart belongs to business. I am an marketing undergrad, and I have my MBA at Southern.
Mm-hmm.
So and you, Jennifer, and Amy, and I meet all the time with donors and trying to get the monies in to help our students. We just awarded the Dr. Doug Dare to Be Great scholarship to Quadir, an MBA student, an amazing young man who got that scholarship. So great things happening and with great programs. So if you want to talk a little bit about some of the programs and maybe you can touch on the accreditation stuff?
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. So the Business Success Center and everything that happens to there really just amplifies the great experience and the degree programs that we have. So on the undergraduate side, we have a solid business core. We have multiple concentrations, and we've rolled out some new concentrations as well. So the Public Utilities Management program is a relatively new program. We've partnered with public utilities that are sort of looking out and seeing that they're going to have a sort of an employment cliff with retirements. And so we are partnering with industry to help fill that gap. Our HR concentration is also a new concentration, and they have just become Society for Human Resource Management aligned, which means that our curriculum positions students to take the certification exam in HR. We're the only school in Connecticut that is SHRM aligned. Wow. So very exciting with HR. And we have a brand new entrepreneurship minor, which will start in the fall. It's an interdisciplinary minor. We've been working with other folks across campus and are really not only sort of doing some coursework in entrepreneurship, but pitch competitions and case studies and that sort of thing. So super exciting on the undergraduate side. Our MBA program, there's a couple different options. You can do a traditional MBA in an online or on-ground format, or an accelerated MBA, which is built for working professionals. And so a hybrid program with some classes online and some in the classroom on Saturdays, which is also great. And all of this is made possible by our faculty, who are amazing and on fire really with research. And so they are really capable researchers. They bring that research into their classroom. It enriches the student experience and also helps our business community. So they just launched a podcast actually called Business Lens. And so we're trying to get even more more of their work and of others in the field out into the local business community. So super exciting things happening in the School of Business, and all of this will happen in a brand new building come next year. So we couldn't be more thrilled.
But before I ask a question about the building, and you may have said this because you mentioned a lot about different programs, is there a 4+1 for the MBA?
So yes, with some of the changes we've made recently to our curriculum, there is a 4+1 option. And so students can roll directly into an MBA program. They can waive some of the credits in that program and complete their MBA in 30 hours worth of coursework. So a great opportunity for our students to again, get out of school in 5 years with both a bachelor's and an MBA. So again, doing our part for change for good and for social justice to decrease that cost of education.
That's great. And in the School of Business, I always think of as its own little college, because you have your own career fair, you have these success center. You also have a trading room in the current School of Business, but I believe you're going to be expanding that trading room. And can you talk a little bit about how the students actually trade stocks and are given money to have real money and get that experience?
Absolutely. So we have a group of finance students every year that is part of a class. They actually trade real money, and they've sort of increased their funds over the past several years. We do have a trading room in the current School of Business, and a much more elaborate one is planned with a stock market ticker that'll actually be visible. Right now, it's just visible by our students who are doing the trading, but in the future, it'll be visible to everyone in the community and everyone who's driving by as well.
Will there be room for a newsroom so Frankie and the T can work out of there maybe next year?
We might be able to arrange some space for you, Frank. We'll have to sort that out. Maybe with some of the funds we get today with your help.
And Amy, I know you mentioned the Impact Program, which is paying for internships for our students. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, thanks to the generosity of Lindy Gold, we were able to launch that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so the Impact Program was started just a couple of years ago, and actually a donor named Jerry Brennan came to us. He's an alum, and he said, the nonprofits can't compete with some of the large organizations when it comes to hiring interns, but the experience that students will get in these organizations will be really powerful. And how can we kind of meet that need? And so we fundraised. We thought it was a great idea. And we're proud of the way that we're able to listen to the business community when they come to us with ideas and recognize a need. That's how our public utilities management program was started. The Impact Program, our women's leadership program that was started by the funding of Lindy Lee Gold, is another area where we recognize that women in business sometimes still face obstacles that men may not. And so we have a seminar series at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. We have a one credit course that corresponds to the women's leadership program, and our students have had an opportunity to meet some really amazing community members that have mentored them and taken them out to lunch and opened up their businesses so we could come in and tour, and just all kinds of great experiences.
Well, it's funny because that was my next question, and you jumped on it already. I know as a fundraiser, it's really important for me to go out and raise dollars for different colleges. But what I find with the School of Business is we have a lot of people that want to come in and help. I mean, we have people that want to come into the classroom and speak, job shadowing, mentoring. I think you've been pretty successful with that, and I don't know if you can give any examples of what's happening with that.
Yeah, we have a course called Learning from Practitioners, where the entire course is just a guest speaker every class. So it's a marketing class, and so many different companies need marketing. And so we have different practitioners from different organizations and different fields come in and talk about what marketing is like in their industry. And that's a really great way to connect students with employers. And yeah, you mentioned the Dr. Doug's Dare to Be Great Award. Doug Hirschhorn, an alum, wanted to be involved, and Frank and I spent some time with him trying to figure out what would be the best thing for us to do. And we landed on this MBA award that's just amazing. And we awarded our first winner, Quadir McIntyre Delgado, recently. And he and Doug got to meet, and it's wonderful to be able to connect students with alums and business community members that have something to give.
Yes, it is amazing. And speaking of Doug's fund and other funds, Tiana, you want to reiterate to the folks about how the match is going to work? If someone gave to the Dare to Be Doug fund today, it gets doubled, right, Tiana?
Yes, so everything is going to be doubled dollar for dollar. And right now we have about $11,000 in matching dollars for the School of Business. So just really take advantage of that, because, nothing is too small, because we have the capacity to double that today. Just don't wait too late.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate to anybody listening out there, if you don't have the funds to give, but you have the time, that's just as important. Our students need mentors. They need people like you in the business profession to help us out. Jennifer, anything you want to say in closing before we let you go?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm listening to Amy talk about all of the great things, and I can't help but feel so grateful, both for the people who are supporting us financially today, but also all of the business folks in the community who reach out to us and say, I have an idea. Do you want to help us make it happen? And we do it to the benefit of our students as well as the business community. So we are just over the moon with all of the support that we've had for the School of Business, and we look forward to continuing to celebrate that today.
And real quick, how many months away are we from that accreditation status?
So we are still in the process of pursuing AACSB accreditation, which of course is the gold standard for business schools across the country. And so we're hard at work on meeting those requirements, and we hope to have a big announcement sometime within the next several months.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I had to. You know. Well, Amy and Jennifer, thank you so much for all you're doing, for your time and your generous donations. And it's been great working with both of you. And we look forward to seeing how you do at the end of the day. And yes, Quad is so deserving that award. It came up on the chat. We all love Quad. He's the best. And he's an NFL prospect. So let's put it out there in the universe that he gets picked up by an NFL team.
Absolutely.
Thanks to you both.
Thank you
Thanks,
both.
guys.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Tiana, what do we got going on? Any updates? Anything happening before we bring in our next guest?
Well, right now, I see a lot of trash talking going on in my personal world of people wanting to grab that $2,000 on the 11 a.m. block. But overall, I mean, the ticker just keeps going up. It's hard to really keep track. We're at 443,000 right now, which is amazing. And it's just adding to it. If you feel discouraged, like Frank said earlier, just share the link. If you don't have it, just share it because somebody else is going to see it. One of the things that I love the most is the fact that there's something to care about. We have so many different funds, so many different scholarships. So if you can't find one, you're sadly mistaken because we have everything under the sun.
Right. And the next session after us is, I think, Chris Barker and Ken Sweeten are going to be talking to some folks in athletics and other areas. And I'd love to see the comparison of which program raised more funds. I think we got them beat, T.
Yes.
We're going to get them.
Yeah. I think we are. I think we
All
are.
right.
I think we are.
So our next guest is one of my favorite deans, and he's with some guests, some alumni he has brought along with him. It's Dean Stephen Hegedus from Education. And there he is, Dean Hegedus, and you're with Dr. Lopez. How are you?
Hey.
Hello.
Hi. Nice to see you. Dean Hegedus, are you in your lovely building in Davis?
We are in the building called Davis. Yeah.
How you doing today? Well, Tiana, how are we doing with education before we go to Dean Hegedus?
Anybody wants to offer some money to renovate it, that would be awesome. Let's just right off.
All right, Dean Hegedus, you have your work cut out for you a bit. We're at just shy of $10,000, 35 donors. So we have the rest of the day. No need to panic. We have the rest of the day. But that just means lunch hour is going to be calls and pizza.
Well, I'll tell you a quick story before I let you talk, Dean Hegedus. Full disclosure, last year he was the winner, and I got a call from him at like 9:30 at night. Can you have your wife donate $5? So if you'll see, your last donation was my wife because she's an education major, and I think that put you over the top. So tell us what you got going on, Dean Hegedus.
She actually gave $10, Frank. Maybe she didn't tell you.
Oh, that was it.
No, we take it nice and slow. We don't want to peak too soon, like our colleagues in arts and sciences. We're just we're going to get there, nice and carefully. We're just engaged in a phonathon. We just started that over here in Davis, and we're calling on our alumni. But we're very grateful for all that they do. Are we going to have some students joining us? Is that the goal?
Yes, that's the goal.
So the main thing that we're focused on. Oh, here we go. Here's Clarissa. Hi.
Oh.
Hey.
And Anita's here
Oh, and Anita
too.
as well. Okay,
Yay.
there you go. You see, proper
Go
planning.
big or go home, right, Dean Hegedus?
Right. Yeah. So it's really good to be with you guys. It's always fun. Thank you for doing this. It's amazing. And today I'm joined by three of my student leadership group. Alex was one of the first groups. We've had about almost 30 students go through it, and Clarissa as well was in the and Anita. In fact, they were all But the thing, what happens here at Southern in education, our students keep coming back and back. They keep coming, getting more degrees. In fact, our superintendent of New Haven Public Schools has 5 degrees from Southern, the maximum. So, that shows something about how, and I'll let our students, our graduates and returning students speak to this, how much they value our faculty like Angela and others, and how much they trust them, which is really important today. So we are asking for support to support our students, their internships, to offset the financial burden that they incur in additional fees that education majors have in testing and even getting professional attire when they do their placements. So last year we managed to award nearly $40,000 to students for that just-in-time need. And there's some very powerful stories that our students have. They need that support from us, and they need it to be able to advance their careers. And this is a conversation that I've had with our governor's office, our legislators, and our Commission of Education. They hear us, but it's time to really support our educators, our future educators, and our present educators.
That's awesome. Before we get to our students, Angela, I've heard you talk about education as giving. Can you explain what that means to you? Like, how do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure that our wonderful alumni who are here know exactly what this is, right? So being an educator is giving yourself to your students. It's about having passion to teach others, to help others. I'm sure that in our lives as educators, we have seen that. We have seen this with our alumni, how they have given so much to us, but we have also given to them, and they are giving to the students that they've had either now or in the past. And I'm sure, that's in our minds all the time. Being educators are being givers, and which is great for the day of giving, because we need educators in our society. We need educators in our lives. So if folks out there want to give so that we can continue giving, that's the whole purpose here today.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, we thank our police and firemen for their service and our military folks, but I started thanking teachers for their service, because it's sometimes a thankless job. And I've never met Anita, and Clarissa looks familiar, but Alex and I go way back. I don't know if you remember me, Alex, from your Southern days. So I'm going left to right. So I'm going to start with you, Alex, and introduce yourself and tell us a little about why you're here.
Hey everyone, my name is Alex Saudet. I'm a data analyst at the American Enterprise Institute, which is a think tank in Washington, D.C. So I primarily work in education policy. And prior to that, I was a math and computer science teacher in Norwalk, Connecticut, at Norwalk High and then P-Tech Norwalk. And I'm here because Southern gave me the experience that just grounds me in all of the work that I do now, and that I saw inequities in the classroom, and I wanted to do something about it. So I studied education policy, but when I came to D.C., I realized how important it was to be in the classroom and come from a state institution, and not that TFA is bad, or Teach for America is bad, but that going through an accredited, powerful program like Southern's really prepared me for everything that I do now. I think about it all the time. Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Before we go to Clarissa, I think we have some breaking news, Tiana. Did you see that come across the board?
Yes, Dean Hegedus' challenge has been met. So we closed that challenge. Dean Hegedus, thank you for putting up your own money to encourage donors. So that is awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
I'll have to piggy bank now.
Dean Hegedus, when you go to Delaney's later, I'll buy you a wing.
I'll get the free one, right? You buy one,
yes,
you get the free.
Yes. Clarissa, how are you today?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. I'm happy to be here. My name is Clarissa Rodriguez, and I am currently a doctoral student at the University of Connecticut. I did my undergraduate studies at Southern, and then when I graduated, I worked as a self-contained special education teacher. And everything that I am doing now, I have to thank the School of Education, because they have always been so great to me with their generosity with scholarships and funding to help me continue my studies throughout undergrad, and also the mentorship that I received while I was there and continue to receive now. The dean and Dr. Lopez Velasquez can tell you that I don't leave them alone. I'm always emailing or following up, getting their input on things, and now I'm a doctoral student and kind of looking to continue to give back in other ways once I'm finished and done with my studies.
Well, we will not hold UConn against you, because you did your undergrad at Southern. And then when you get that doctorate, maybe you'll come back and work for Dean Hegedus and Angela. That would be awesome.
That's the goal.
He's already asked me.
We got you. Don't worry. This is good brownie points for you. And Anita, it's nice to have you on. Want to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. My name is Anita Nasalillo. I am currently a middle school math teacher. I, in fact, was almost not able to be here because of coverage issues, but I have a great supporting staff who really understands the importance of giving back. In fact, a lot of my fellow colleagues here are also Southern Connecticut graduates, especially from, of course, the College of Education. So a lot of them were saying, give us a shout out, mention us by names, which I'm not going to, but they're very supportive, which I'm happy about. Like Clarissa, I have come back many times to the College of Education. I have 2 bachelor degrees from Southern, a master's, and I am also completing my doctorate program. Hopefully should be done in about 2 years. So everything that I have learned at Southern, I think it speaks to the fact that I keep continuing my education at Southern. I like to say I'm a lifelong learner, and the dean's never going to get rid of me because I've been there for like 9 or 10 years now. But again, that just attests to the great program that we do have, to the professors that we have with us. They're not just researchers, they're not just authors. They're truly people who give back, whether it's donating to this Day of Caring or whether it's, I remember one little anecdote in actually Dr. Lopez's class. She would have us bring little dinners to our night classes. So every night that we met was like 2 people would pair up, they would plan dinners. So that really created this sense of family and environment in the class that I initially thought was very challenging. And then having Dr. Lopez as my professor, we really built that bond together over many years. So whether it was dinners in class, whether it was her giving me life advice, giving me multiple opportunities, which I'm sure Alex and Clarissa can both do. I think just having the 3 of us here, Alex, Clarissa, and I, to continuously talk and brag about how great our program is enough.
So it's funny you say that, because I was going to ask the question or mention this, that and Dean Hegedus can attest to this. I used to work in career services, and our principals and teachers say that when they get a student intern or a student teacher from Southern, they prefer the Southern student. The Quinnipiacs and UNH students can't hold a candle, and I think you can probably agree, because you have a lot of Southern alumni. Would you agree with that our students rock?
Absolutely.
I would, yeah.
You can shout out names, but we just have to tell them that if you mention their name, they have to make a donation.
Oh, I'll shout out my principal right now, Mr. James Singletary. He's a 6-year vet from the College of Education. Previous principal before that, Mr. Brian Darcy. He is now principal in Milford, but both came from the College of Education at Southern.
I'm writing down these names. They're getting calls from Dean Hegedus after this event.
Well, thank you, Principal, as well, Anita, for letting you step out of class for a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate all the alumni coming on for this. Dean Hegedus, what would you say the biggest need for our students is? And if you're talking to people to give money, what are we looking for the school of education, College of Education?
Absolutely. So in a nutshell, our students will need an additional $1,500 a year on average in assessment fees and other additional fees. And that's if they pass test first time. And I think these hidden costs are not always well known. And so what we've been doing, if you want to support one student through their program, that's what it would cost. If you can give a fraction of that amount, we would be so thankful as well. But that's what we're looking at. And, we have nearly 1,400 students in the College of Ed. So there's a lot of need there for many of our students. But I think when I say that number, just even now this spring, when our student teachers are completing an assessment, that's $300 just right there that they have to pay to complete their student teaching assessment. So, that's the reality of what our students are facing, both undergrads and graduates, not just teachers, but we have a lot of students in the advanced professions, in school psychology, school counseling, school library media, educational leadership. Anita's just mentioned she's in the Ed Leadership Doctoral Program. We have a new counseling education doctorate as well, which we're very pleased to and that just started last summer. And a new ABA program, applied behavior analysis. These are all very timely and important degree programs. So we're continually wanting to meet the needs of our students and our schools and and businesses as well in Connecticut. So that's if you feel like you want to support a student throughout their career here, $1,500 would go a long way. But any amount that folks wish to give us today, it will go directly to our students, and we thank you all.
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for all that you do, Alec, Clarissa, and Anita. Like I said earlier, thank you for your service, because it's not an easy profession to be in these days. And Dean Hegedus and Angela, you guys are great. We appreciate you coming on. I wish you the best of luck. The Dean Challenge you won last year, it's going to be tight, right, Tiana?
It's going to be tight. And just the short amount of time that you all have been on, you've already gone up to $17,000 raised. So shout out to the Dream Team. Shout out to the Dream Team. But one of the things I just realized is this is school education. So most of the teachers in Connecticut are from the College of Education here at Southern. So they're teaching right now. So expect that number to go up immensely after school hours.
Great point. Great point.
Yeah. We have someone in every district in Connecticut.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, best of luck, and we'll see you at the after party at Delaney's, Dean Hegedus.
Thank you. Yeah. Take
You're
care.
all invited too. You're all invited too, alumni. Take care.
Thanks, Alex,
Thank
Clarissa,
you.
Anita. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Tiana, before we bring on the top owl, do we have any updates?
Yes, give me 1 second here. Because again, tickers going up. We're at 471,000. 471,000. So it's tight. It's tight. I'll give you the college update in a sec. But it is a tight race. And again, just watching that 11 o'clock power hour. Again, if you haven't given in that 11 o'clock hour, please do so, because that is for 2,000. For 2,000.
So the 11 o'clock power hour isn't done yet?
Nope, we are not done yet. We are just underway. It'll be done at 12. And just taking a quick look at the college challenge, Arts and Sciences is in the lead with 46,000. And HHS is right behind at 41,000.
That's great. That's great. All right. Well, I think we're ready to bring on President Joe to talk a little about what's been happening. And President Joe, there he is.
Hey, how we doing?
I feel like it was just yesterday. We did this last year.
Well, I feel like I see you all the time, Frank.
I was just going to mention my new job. I meet with a lot of donors now, and I have to bring the top owl in to schmooze them. And I actually enjoy it, but I don't think President Joe is loving it too much.
Yeah, it's all good. It's always a good time. It's always a good time. How you guys doing today?
Yeah, we're doing great. We just had some great conversations with our deans. There's great competition. The money's coming in. Love to chat with you for 10 minutes about some things. You want to start off about some of our top achievements this year?
Sure. Oh, you're asking me the question, huh?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still on my first cup of coffee, even though it is whatever time it is.
Well, look what I got. I got my first cup of Joe. I'm not brown nosing at all.
Good for you. I'm impressed. You're not getting a raise, but I'm impressed. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. No, it's really an exciting time. I mean, we're coming off of 2 years of many challenges related to COVID and just related to what's happening in the world these days and what our students are experiencing. As I was coming in this morning, I was listening to the news as it relates to the rising costs of everything, and the impact that has on everyone with items from everyday life that maybe we all take for granted. So a couple of cents here, a couple of cents here. Remember, we're primarily a commuter campus, so filling one's gas tank to come back and forth to school, all of those things, they add up. And that becomes a tremendous burden, I think, on our community. And so our students, I think, are doing the best with what they have, but over the course of the last couple of years, between sickness, between loss, whether it's of individuals or of jobs, or of having to step up at their home at their homes to be the primary breadwinner. Just so much has happened, and then try balancing all of that and learning online. For some students that has worked really well, for others not so much. So we've had a lot happening, but also I think for all of those struggles, our resilience as an institution and our ability to come together as a community compassionately with an ethic of care to help the members of our community, both internally and externally, I think has been extraordinary. And I think it speaks to the values of who we are as an institution. It's very Southern Connecticut State University. In
Well,
ways.
That leads me to a question that's not on my talking points, but I was laying in bed last night thinking about this. I was under the regime of Mike Adante, who was president for 19 years, and presidents usually last 2 to 4 years. President Joe, you're probably one of the longest lasting presidents we've had, other than Mike, 6 years. I don't know about the older ones before my time. What motivates you to get up every morning and do what you do? I mean, the pandemic, the economy, tuition, low enrollment. You've been through it all, and low enrollment is because of demographics, not because of us.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot going on. What motivates you to get up and do this?
Students. That's why we're here. They are at the top of the pyramid, if you will, in every way, shape, and form. And it's important for us not to forget that. We have an opportunity to shape the lives of students who primarily come from working class families, and an opportunity to provide access to students who may have not otherwise had that access, or are not quite sure yet what direction they want to head. And that's okay. You had asked when your very first question, there's so many exciting things happening right now that it's and so much opportunity that how can you not be excited? I mean, despite everything else, I was out there today on the quad. There was a tour group out there. There were students who were standing around some live owls that we have on the quads today. But let me take a step back for a second. There were some issues that we were dealing with here on campus earlier in the semester, and a news reporter asked students for their reaction, and every single one of those students said, we're going to do what we need to do in this community because this is a community that believes in social justice. It's a community that believes in dignity, respect, kindness, compassion, and civility. And I am in my living room watching the television, and I'm thinking to myself, this reporter is just walking up to these students on campus, and all of them are speaking and articulating our values. Now, that you don't see that in a lot of places. So that says to me that our students, they get it. They have come here not just for an education, but to be part of something bigger. Right. And that bigger winds up being students who are about to move to our new College of Health and Human Services, the growth of our nursing program, the growth of our social work program, the groundbreaking and the fast building for our School of Business, right on the edge of international accreditation, and the fact that we celebrated our first Rhodes Scholar And I teach a class, and this past weekend we had a retreat, and just to listen to those students talk about their future and the possibilities, and their belief and commitment to wanting to make things better for themselves and for the people after them. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Well, you make it hard for me to ask questions because my goals for the future in the state of social justice was my talking points, and you're touching on all of it. But can you touch a little bit more about specifically the goals for Southern Connecticut State University and incorporating social justice into those goals and what it looks like?
It's interesting. When I talk about social justice, it certainly it makes folks uncomfortable. And that's okay, because I'm not just talking about social justice, I'm talking about social justice and anti-racism. And if we're not talking about those issues and trying to confront those issues head on, then we're not paying attention to what's happening around us in the world. It doesn't matter whether we agree or disagree. That's irrelevant. What matters is that we're engaged in conversation. Our job is to facilitate conversation. Our job is to allow our students to express themselves, debate, give them information so that they can make good choices. And our job is to create an environment, and this is part of our social justice work, where you and I can be on opposite ends of the policy spectrum, but still be able to go out and enjoy each other's company at Delaney's, as you said earlier. There's that is what matters. So I'm a college student of the 80s, and I remember very vividly that Ronald Reagan was president of the United States and Tip O'Neill was Speaker of the House. Now, they couldn't have been more different in their political perspectives. But once a week, at least this is how the story goes, Tip O'Neill would go over to the White House and he'd have a drink and a cigar with the President of the United States. Wow. And they would talk about life and they would banter back and forth. And while they may not have always agreed, they respected one another. They treated each other with civility, and they were skilled at the art of compromise.
Right.
And the world is a bit strange right now. But I want our students to learn that. I think that's what's important. I'm not asking our students to agree with one another, but I am asking them to listen and to speak to one another. That's one part of social justice. But social justice and anti-racism needs to be embedded in everything we do. What do I mean by that? When we educate teachers, okay, that is part of a social justice mission, because there are a lot of children who are not prepared for school.
Right.
We see that when some of our students find their way here. That's part of the social justice mission, making sure that our children can read and write and think and articulate. Secondly, I think that if you check off all of the boxes when we talk about health and human services, anything related, everything we've just gone through, any work in health and human services is directly tied to a social justice mission. Ensuring that a student has books is part of the social justice mission. Ensuring that a student has a roof over their head, that they have the medical treatment they need, that they have the food that they need, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not, it doesn't have to be complicated. I think we make it complicated. Walking from one end of campus to another and acknowledging another person and picking up their book when they drop it that is part of this bigger picture. So so yes, it's all of these big conversations and difficult conversations and confronting um, uh, issues of systemic racism and oppression, um, and the rebuilding of policy and curriculum. But none of that matters if at our core we are not willing to treat others with dignity and respect as persons.
Right.
Anyway, sorry, you got me off.
No,
you got me.
that's no. Your passion is exuding through the screen, and we appreciate it. So the reason why we're here, obviously, for this day is to bring in money to help our students. I'm gonna let Tiana let you know how we're doing so far, and maybe we can do a shout out and an appeal to some of the folks watching.
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, President Joe, thank you for putting up a challenge. People have called to action, and your challenge is now complete. So thank you again. You did not have to, so that is complete. Overall, we're at 492,000 as a community. And just speaking to some of the points that you were talking about, as far as like our emergency relief fund, we're at 38,000 for that. At our highest priorities, we're at 30,000 for that. And our newly created DEI Excellence Fund, we're at $36,000 for that. So again, hats off to you for leading from the front and being that example for the whole university and the mission that we have going.
Yeah, and Joe,
I don't want to get off this call. I'm sorry, we're at one what? What are we at? 192?
492.
492. Excuse me. Sorry. Oh my God. Poor folks in institutional advancement are going like, he just took away 300 grand. Yeah, relax.
Oh, I know.
492. Okay. How much longer do I have here, Frank?
Al, let's see. I think
first of all,
3
I'm the
minutes.
president.
You're the president. You have all day.
I can take as much time as I want.
Yeah, we got 3 minutes.
I
but
want
you got
somebody
all day.
out there.
5 minutes. 5.
Yeah. Okay, Allison. Yeah. Sorry, I deleted that. Okay. Because I want my $8,000 while I'm here.
So we're gonna get to $500,000 before you're off.
I'd like to do that. No pressure. I'm gonna start naming names. In any case,
I am bringing donors in front of you, and IA is working really hard. The team has been doing a great job. Do you find it hard to go out and ask people for money for this cause, Joe?
No.
It's not for everybody. Not every president can do this.
I mean, well, then they shouldn't be a president. No, don't quote me on that. Too late. This is all. Seriously, I think that look, the job of a president is not to run the day-to-day of an institution. People are often surprised when I say that, because yes, we're involved in the day-to-day, but the team and the people that are here are really engaged in that work. From my perspective, and I've been a president now for 10 years between Southern and my previous institution, and I have the waistline and the hair to show for it. But what I can tell you is, as I have matured in my own role, I have found that working with donors, working with alums, connecting to community leaders, connecting with legislators, ensuring that we are at that we have a strong sense of community, that we're connected to the external community. All of those things matter. All of those are the things that I think presidents should be focused on. And my job is to ensure that you have the resources you need as staff to do what you need to do. So
right.
Tiana
put it nicely that you lead from the front, and I'm not trying to out you on this, but you have scholarships at each institution that you were at. You've started your own personal scholarships, which is amazing.
Bill and I, my husband Bill and I, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We feel very fortunate. We have a scholarship here at Southern, at my previous institution, and we have scholarships at other institutions that we've been affiliated with. And all of those, each of those institutions have not just had an impact on us, but on the impact of so many students' lives. And it doesn't. And I'm going to let my friends in on a secret here. Because people get nervous, and I respect this. I think that Bill and I are fortunate enough that this is something we can do, but not everybody can do that. Right. But what people can do is, other people. And so when Bill and I have started our scholarships, we have been in the field. We both work in higher education. We've been in the field now for 3 decades. And the result of that is we know a lot of students. So today, for example, I will push out to probably a number of students that I know. And I'll say, look, now I can joke and say, I got some information on you. No, or I can say, really proud of you. You've done great. We've been, I appreciate that we've had part of the impact on your life. And if you could see to donate X, Y, and Z, I'd really appreciate that. I actually had a young man who was a camper of mine when I was a summer camp counselor, texted me and said, "Oh, I hear it's Giving Day. It's not a lot, but I donated a couple $100." I'm like, for a student,
That's awesome.
For a student, that buys books, right? So I think those things. I think it matters.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate all you do, not only for our students, but the work you do, but you also give financially, and you give your time, and it's amazing. We're $3,000 away from that challenge. I'm looking at it now. I was gonna call Bill and see if he had a credit card, but you already give enough, so I won't do that.
Actually, is the I'm looking here. Where are we at?
49764.
What do we need? What is that? I do the math.
3,000. You're asking me to do the math.
No,
that was
2,000.
2,020. 2,200.
2,200. Allison's chiming in. Allison, Bill and I are going to give another 2,500.
Wow.
There we go.
That's amazing.
There we go.
So now, that'll put us over $500,000. Is that correct?
That's awesome.
I want to see that number change. I'm not leaving this screen until I see that number change. Yes,
I know.
I'll give you my credit card. Don't worry about it.
You know where to find you.
Thank you. And I just did that. And after this, I'm going to call Bill and I'm going to say, you're not going to the store this weekend.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm still waiting, Judith. I'm still waiting.
We got to see the number to pop up.
Yeah. Then I can go.
I'm not going anywhere. What'd you do today, Frank? Me and President Joe hung out on a screen all day.
This is my best week all day. Nobody's complaining about anything. We're celebrating. So
Tiana and I are thinking that we want to do this full time, Joe. So everyone, you'll come into a newsroom and we'll interview you. What do you think? That could be our show. Oh, there it is, Joe. President Joe. Hey. $500,000 at 11:34 a.m. Oh, we're beating that last year's goal.
Noon.
That's not even noon. Oh, I just got chills. That's awesome.
That is amazing. Again, just leading from the front.
President Joe, thank you so much for all you do for us, and thanks for your time today. And hopefully you'll make it over to Delaney's, and the wine and beer is on me because of that last donation.
Well, thank you all very much, and to to those that are listening in, we're changing lives here. What we do matters, and we hope that you will join us in this effort. And I want to thank all of our donors for their continued support. And to the two of you, have fun today, because I know you love doing this, and
we're having a blast.
Great
We're having
job.
a blast. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. Go Owls.
Go Owls. So look at that, Tiana.
Whew. I mean,
I don't see Barker and Sweeten holding a candle to us.
I don't know. Unless they get to 800 in that 12 o'clock hour, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't know if there's any videos Allison wanted to show or play, but I think that concludes our segment with Frankie and the T. Did you have a good time today, T?
Yes, it was amazing. And I just want to reiterate what President Joe said. We're changing lives. Like, today is a great day to change lives. So at different universities, this may be called Giving Day, but here on Southern's campus, this is Day of Caring, because people truly care about what's going on here. So again, if it's 5, 10, 20, whatever you have, it's a great day to change lives.
Yeah, I saw a lot of friends pop up. To all my friends, Southern Connecticut alumni, family, friends, colleagues, thank you for all you're doing. Thank you for your support. A little secret, I think we're getting to 1 million, but you didn't hear that from me. Have a great day, everybody.
Have a great one.